Welcome to the Shiproom, where we learn from tech leaders at some of the world's most successful companies. I'm Brad Anderson. I'm the Vice President, Microsoft 365. Today, I am joined by Marc Carlson, the CIO of Land O'Lakes. Marc, welcome to the Shiproom.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So, Land O'Lakes handles 12 billion pounds of milk a year. But your company also works with biofuel, animal feed, broadband internet in rural areas. You have thousands of employees. It's an incredible organization. I get the feeling that the CIO of Land O'Lakes has his hands full. I've heard a lot of CIOs talk about how the number one thing they want out of technology is to simplify the way that people work and how they work together. I'm curious what have you been put in place that enables that simplicity so that your people can just focus on the business?
I think a couple things that we've tried to do, really tried to lead with process. So learn the process, understand what we're trying to do. And then when you select a technology, try to challenge ourselves as to why you can't use the technology out of the box. What is it about our process that leads us to think we're different or unique than others? There's no reason we can't take things out of the box. So it's really turned into explain why we think we're different and why we need to customize. Because once we start customizing, that's, I think, for us, been the problems we've had.
I think most organizations and most leaders have recognized when you do all that customization, down the road, for the next 5 to 10 years, you pay over and over again because it just limits your agility.
If you're trying to customize one of those tools and you got an upgrade coming, that's a nightmare to deal with, and it's not fun for anyone from an IT standpoint or from a business standpoint.
So we did a little research on you. You have got an athletic family. One of the questions we had for you is, what are the kind of things that you're going to look for a really good basketball shoe?
Hopefully they're free shoes.
Look at this picture here, and I'm curious if you would ever recommend a Reebok pump.
That's going back a long time. The pumps were outstanding shoes back in the day. Thank you for bringing that up.
It looks like someone's trying to join our meeting right now. Who is this?
Ahoy, hoy! Has the operator connected us?
Apparently, hey, this is Brad. I'm here with Marc from Land O'Lakes. Who's this?
Jolly good. I've been attempting to correspond with someone from Land O'Lakes to help with a bit of a blunder that has besieged me. Earlier this morning, I had sent Stigginsworth to the market to fetch several pounds of cheese for my weekly sandwiches, as well as food for the deer which make their home in the woods here on the estate. Grievously, before I was able to enjoy the sundries, it would appear my prized hounds had rooted through the shopping and ate everything. By chance, however, I was able to recover 2 scraps of packaging. One for the delicious Land O'Lakes cheeses, and the other for the Purina Mills deer feed that Land O'Lakes also produces.
Where's this going?
I'll read you a list of the descriptions I can make out, and you tell me if it's describing the cheese or the deer feed.
Okay, we'll make a run at this.
Strong molasses flavor.
I would say deer feed.
Contains a light hint of smoke.
That could be cheese or deer feed.
Helps support strong antler growth, density, and strength.
Man, I'm gonna go antler max for sure, but you feed them cheese, they might like that too.
Goes well with apples, pears, and strawberries.
Well, deer like all those things, but I'm gonna go with cheese.
Has just the right amount of medium heat for that extra something.
I'm gonna go with cheese.
Seaweed-derived calcium.
I'm hoping not the cheese, but I'm gonna go antler max.
Developed by the Deer Research Unit at the 1,263-acre Purina Animal Nutrition Center.
Definitely the antler max, and that's the farm is a pretty special place. If you ever get a chance, it's an amazing facility.
And one other matter. I read an article where you talked about how Land O'Lakes had to modernize and transform to continue to meet the technical and agricultural needs of farmers. Well, what were some of the ways you modernized your own tools? And what effects have you seen?
If you take our, kind of the supply chain from Land O'Lakes standpoint, so from the plant that you put in the ground all the way to the products you put in the supermarket, We have a fairly integrated supply chain from that standpoint. So finding more ways to get broadband into those farms so that we can use IoT type devices to really get additional data we've never had from the fields, from the animals, to continue to help them maximize their profits, help them maximize the yields on the fields, help them maximize the health of their animals, which in the end turns into better quality products.
Thank you, my good chap. Now, I must be off. I can see Vespasian charging about on the veranda. And he has put Stigginsworth into considerable distress. Now, boy, not there. Down.
Could you tell us a little bit about how Office 365 has helped you accomplish some of your goals?
You look at the environment right now in Teams. I think we're actually a fairly early adopter of that, and we were a company that always had to have butts and chairs, right? If you weren't in the office, it was really, are they working? Are they being efficient? I think we've seen from a team standpoint that that technology has really helped us move from the workplace butts and chairs to the remote workplace, which has been outstanding. And our surprising to us, we adopted it very quickly out of the office, and then you get into other products like Power BI has been I'd say kind of a game changer for us from just an analytics standpoint. We're very productive. We've seen some pretty huge increases. We use the workplace analytics for Microsoft, and we're seeing some trends that are, really suggest that we're very productive right now. And for us, it expanded our world in a big way.
So Land O'Lakes is synonymous with butter. And so it's only fitting that the Minnesota State Fair is famous for things like butter carvings. Have you seen these before?
I've seen them many times, absolutely.
I'm going to show you a series of some of the best carved butter on the planet. And I want you to rate them on a scale of 1 to 5 lakes. Sculpture number 1. This is a cow riding a motorcycle.
I'm liking it. I'm gonna go 5 on that. I like that one.
Holy, that's really made out of butter. That's amazing. Number 2, Harry Potter.
That's not bad. I'm gonna give him a 4. I think there's a little more detailed face work you could do on that one.
Number 3, John Stamos.
All right, I'm gonna go a 4 just because of the hair. That one scares me a little bit.
Land O'Lakes has been working with farmers for more than 100 years. There are 18 million people in the U.S. right now that do not have broadband, and 14 million are in rural areas. So I know Land O'Lakes is doing a lot of work in this area, like what Microsoft is. Tell us about the work that Land O'Lakes is doing.
We got a nice partnership with Microsoft on this to figure out rural broadband. It started, so kind of two components, with COVID-19, where we started setting up Wi-Fi near our locations, in our parking lots, basically for educational purposes and for telemedicine to the rural locations. But the bigger one, we've started this thing called the American Connection Project with Microsoft to figure out how do you get rural broadband out there. Teddy Bickelli, who's our CTO, was on FCC commission, and he's leading that effort to have a group of different partners to put money together to figure out how we roll this out. It's going to take the government along with companies like Microsoft and Land O'Lakes to really push this out, and it's something needed. I think there's 25% of the farmers have no connectivity, right? You really need that to continue to get data from that, help from sustainability standpoint and just a production and maximize revenue standpoint for them.
During the conversation, we have some AI that's listening in, and that AI comes up with the 12 most relevant questions based upon what we've been talking about. We call it the database dozen. Has your employee of the year ever been a cow? Is Lando a good name for a child?
I like it.
Should we just be calling guacamole avocado butter?
I think so. That might be a new product for us.
Was the food pyramid built by aliens?
Absolutely.
Land O'Lakes has 10,000 employees. Minnesota has 10,000 lakes. Coincidence?
No, I think we do that on purpose.
What basketball player would play you in a movie about your life? And finally, your company sells goat food. But isn't goat food literally anything?
Not if you want the high quality products that we have in our Vermont Creamery.
Thanks for joining us on the Shiproom. It's been great to have you talk about, the incredible innovation that's happening at Land O'Lakes. If people want to learn more about Land O'Lakes, where would they go?
Go to landolakes.com. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn if you want. I'll put you in touch with anybody in the company that you'd like to talk to, because it is a fun place. I think it has a noble cause. Been around for a long time, and I hope we're around for a lot longer.
Thanks again for joining the Shiproom. For everybody else, we'll see you the next time. West Virginia, the Switzerland of America.
That sounds fun, but it'll go false with that one.
That was actually true. I have never pictured West Virginia as the Switzerland of America.